Welcome, this is War General T bringing you my side and views and opinion of the epic battle between Glottkin and Nagash. Nick Fensky was my opponent, also known as Big Bad Bat Rep. He does as his moniker, and this is up for a while today so far, so I was working on mine here. This is my side and point of view. And hopefully you've seen his and you'll see mine and get the whole picture. So of course you know his spells, and for my spells, well, if you go to his video you'll see his spells. My spells, I have a level 4 wizard on my guy, so he had Lore of Nurgle, which gives you the signature spell. Oh, actually I took a signature spell with him, the Lore of Nurgle. And then my other ones, put my cards here, or the book, look it up for you. So the signature spell was that Steam of Corruption. And then I had Rancid Visitations, Fleshy Abundance, and Plague Wind for my 4. So off to the battle. Here we go for the deployment. This is my side with Glottkin there on the left, with a unit of 5 direwolves in front of him. Then a unit of Best Gorge with the Lord, or with the icon of Nurgle. And in that unit I had a Beast Lord, and Enchanted Shields and Gouged Tusks, and a Wargore BSB with Dragon Helm and Shadow Hide. Then on my right side I had a Chariot with Lore of Nurgle, my Warriors of Chaos with Nurgle. There was 14 of them. The Beast scores were 24. Then another Tuskor Chariot there on the far right, also with Nurgle. And here we are up to Nagash's deployment. On the left there, he has a catapult, 2 units of wolves, and 2 archers, 2 units of 20 archers there. And on the right side, he had a 3rd unit of 20 archers behind the wall, and a 3rd unit of wolves behind the wall also. Behind them was Nagash and the Casket of Souls. And to the far right was his second catapult, and the Hyro Titan. And that's his deployment. Here we got an overview of the battlefield, which was battle line. And of course, since he had a lot more units than I did, and I had fewer, I had put mine all down first. So pretty much I have the 2 chariots, the 2 infantry blocks, Glottkin and the wolves, which doesn't give me much, but so he was able to place down all his archers and wolves to match with my deployment. So he was able to place Nagash wherever he wanted, or the higher turn, and his catapults, which he placed there on each pretty much corner, getting the angles and arcs of my guys. And of course Nagash he placed right across from Glottkin, because he was wanting to get some closer range, which you'll see later coming on. And of course, because you want to take on Glottkin, try to get him out. So we go off to turn 1. And here we are off on Vanguards. All his 3 wolves had Vanguard on them. Mine didn't. So he did his Vanguard, and this is his movements. So we'll go on to mine. So we rolled off, and unfortunately I got the +1, but then of course I rolled a 6, so which pretty much didn't matter. So I had the first turn. So we go off to my first turn. Here we are at Glottkin turn 1. For my deployment, I of course with Battle Line, I decided to go with this deployment of Chariot, Infantry, and the big guy. Because, of course, I had the units and wanted to try this out and see how it worked. And that's about kind of my thought process on this. So for movement, the far right chariot just moves up his couple 1 or 2 inches shorter, I believe, of his normal movement because he's got the wolves up there. So to get them a long charge and redirect them into my warriors, hopefully, so I can get them. And then this other chariot there to in the center, he moves off, heading towards the other wolves that vanguarded, and hopes to try to get around that ruins up there. Beast Gorgeous moved up within the 1 inch, so the chariot could keep moving. Wolves move up some, and Glottkin moved up to try to get in range of anything. Unfortunately, because there's no charges, that was just the first turn. Distances were too great. And we move on to Glottkin's magic. So here on the first row for magic, I rolled a 5 and 6 for 11 total, and I was able to get a channel for a total of 12 dice to Nagash a 6. Then my first, of course, with the wolves there and the ranges on my spell, it was pretty limited, so I had the wolves to shoot at, which I did. The first spell I used was the Rancid Visitations on that. So the goes off. He doesn't dispel that. Lets it go off. So on the first roll, I killed 2 of his wolves. Second roll, of course, because you got he takes a toughness test after the first round of wounds. He failed that, so he gets another round of wound attacks. So I killed off the rest of that, and that unit's gone. Then my second spell, use the rest of. Oh, no, actually, I don't use the rest, but I use 6 dice for Plague Winds, which I shoot off to the. Oh, I don't have it on here, but been from Glottkin to the just in front of that front first archers there, and I get it off on 23 with a D6 and my level 4, 23. He rolls on his level 5 with 6 dice, gets a 25. Dispels it. Great. And of course, well, I'll mention it here at the end, but that's it for magic. My army had no shooting whatsoever, and so there's no shooting. Nothing was in combat, so there's no combat. Kind of moving along pretty fast here. So we go off to Nagash's turn 1. Here we are at Nagash turn 1. His first unit of wolves on the far right gets his charge in on my chariot with the very long roll. Gets like a 6 and a 5 in his normal movement. So he lucked out there. And then the other dogs just kind of moving around and angle that way. His Hybrid Titan comes up on the other side of the ruins. Nagash, he just moves up alongside the ruins, up behind the walls some more. Then for his magic, Nagash rolls, gets 7 dice, no 6 dice. I get 5. Then he gets 1 for a channel and 1 for the casket with the D3 roll for a total of 8 to my 5. So his first one, he uses one of the undead spells with 4 dice, plus he rolled another dice from saving a token, from the casket, I believe, and gets a total of 23. So I try to dispel that first one with all 5 of my dice. His total is 23. I roll mine with my level 4, get a 21. My magic phase, his magic phase, even with my level 4, dice were rolling low. And so that goes off. Actually, that'll probably be on the next image. We'll go to that. And here we are on what happens. On the left image is the first one. Up raises 450 points of scriptural stalkers or something like that. It's from Tomb Teams. Up right behind Glottkin. So there's 8 of them now in my rear. Of course, I used up all my dice. So on the next spell, he uses one of the other ones to raise up another unit. Must be the vampire spell on this one, because then which raises the crypt horrors there in front of my warriors, 11 of them, another 450 points. So already he's pretty much raised up his point, Nagash's point worth in just these 2 units. Great. And then we go off to the dreaded shooting phase. Here we are at the shooting phase. Wah, wah, wah. Alright, here we go. Overview. Stalkers behind me. They roll their artillery dice for the number of hits they make. And all total was 40 hits. He rolls for his wounds. Gets 21. I roll for my saves. I saved 14. Taking 7 wounds. Yikes. That is not good. And then his catapult. What can I say? That stepped up and did its job for sure. It shoots at the Glottkin, scatters only 2 inches from his center, so he's still on the base with the center. Gets that hit, causing 5 wounds. Fortunately, I have no saves, and therefore, as you can see, Glottkin is down for the count. Round 1 shooting. Turn 1 shooting. Whatever you want to call it. That is not good. And then, actually, it was probably on the next image here, so we'll go to that. And here's the rest of the shooting phase. His 3 archers open up and aim from the chariot there. The first unit of archers gets 7 hits, 4 wounds. I save 3. Second, the center one gets 9 hits, 4 wounds. I save 2. Third unit, guess what he gets? 7 hits, 4 wounds, and then kills the chariot. All 3 archers got pretty much the same hits and the exact same wounds. Wow, amazing archers. They also stepped up to the plate in this game. So that chariot is adioso. And we moved on to combat. Actually, yep, combat, because the dog's in the chariot. So here's the combat there on the left one. He does 3 wounds with his attacks getting through. I do 3 wounds, so that's a draw. Fortunately, he charged, which was giving him +1 and causing me to flee because I failed the leadership. So I flee 8 inches. He pursued 2. So as you can see, I'm further away with the 3 wounds from those darn doggies. So that's pretty much the end of turn 1. And we are off to turn 2. And unfortunately, here we are at Glottkin's turn 2. As you can see from the left, I rallied the chariot. I charged my warriors into the crypt horrors. And on the oops, I had the images flip-flop, and then on the right picture, my left side, march the beast gores up past leadership to do that. Hopefully get out of the range of the stalkers. The wolves move up to angle to block whatever comes that way. And that's pretty much about it, because I don't have Glottkin. Nothing else moves or charges. And without Glottkin and his guy on there, actually, let me get that book here to tell you who he is. Of course, later on, so stay tuned. Probably next week sometime, once I have some time here again, I'll put together a video on the book. But so far, the big model you saw earlier was Glottkin himself, one brother. There's supposed to be 3 models, all on one. The big guy is called Glottkin. I believe he's the younger brother, if I'm reading right. I have to reread the fluff again, but then there's 2 other brothers right on top of him. And one of them is Etheric Glott, who can cast spells from his brother's shoulders. He's a level 4 wizard with the lore of Nurgle. And his other brother is, I believe it was Autoglot. Yeah, Autoglot. He has a Psi, so in which he can roll d6 start each combat phase, add that to the number of attacks Glottkin has. So you can go from 6 attacks to 11 attacks. And let's see, they're all the Lord of Nurgle. Also, Glottkin has a breath weapon. Unfortunately, of course, as you can see, he's gone. Doesn't able to get to use any of those other stuff. And the guys around him are gone. And there's no shooting. Of course, my army has no shooting. And we'll go off to combat because of the warriors. Here we are at the combat phase. Warriors have 15 attacks, get 10 hits, 5 wounds. He saves 1. So I kill off a guy and get a wound on another guy. Then his horrors attack back. They hit with their 24 attacks, getting 6 hits, 5 wounds. Of course, he had fewer hits, but he was luckier getting those wounds through. So I saved 2, causing 3 to my guys, so losing 3. And with charges and everything, I win by 2. So there's another 2 wounds on the unit because they're vampires, so they crumble. And the second guy is gone. And that is it for combat. Here we are at Nagash's turn 2. His stalkers charge and make it into the rear of the Beastigore herd. And then Archeon moves up across the wall up to the dwarves, and the High Return moves up alongside him. And that's about it. Nothing else moves on the left, on his left flank. So we go off to magic. And for magic, his first one he goes off for casts his Dance of Macabre. And on the, I believe it was the Bestigors or Nagash, somewhere around there. And also Soul Blight. So of course he rolled with 4 dice, getting 3 6s. So he goes off. Here's to full force, and then he rolls on the miscast table, getting 6. Taking a wound. Of course, he got a ward save, passes that, so nothing really happens. He loses the 3 more dice, so he only has 3 left of his last 6. Oh, I forgot to total. Yeah, the total was he had 12 dice total, and I had 6. So you used 6, lost 3, and has 3 left. He could have re-rolled, I guess, on the miscast, but decided not to. So his third spell was Curse of Years. With 2 dice, he gets 12. I use 4 of my dice, getting 3 6s. Therefore, the spell is dispelled. And then his last spell he uses on an undead. and gets it off on a 12. Oh yeah, this is to raise him. This vampire lord there in the left image. Well, let's see. Have it from the first one. Magic. Spell an undead to raise this character guy. Gets it off. And with the points, this time it was the smaller version, so it's only 255 points character. And he has the vampire lord here, and a few arcane items. I think he had a magic armor, a talisman for the almost 255 points. I didn't get that because he didn't have really a list for that, but came up close to that. Placed him right there by the woods, and the Beastigore began charging. So there's a third person or unit or whatever he raised up. Then for shooting is first it's archers shoot at my dogs. Well, actually that was in the image. So this right image here is actually a catapult shooting at the chariot, and then of course with the scatters back 10 inches, and where the green dice is, and ends up there. So that has no effect. And oh, I guess I lost that image. I don't. Well, anyways, his archers shoot at my dogs, which were in this left image, and where that big horde of dead Beastigores are. That's where the dogs were. So they got all shot up, and they're gone. Then this is some combat images. We got the stalkers going in the rear, killing off about, I think it was 8 right at first. And then we got 2 of his stalkers in return. And you can reform, do a combat reform to face him, and a couple of his stalkers are replaced there to be the center. And then on the other side, I believe I'll be the next image here. Here's that other combat. We got the Warriors of Chaos, and with the Crypt Horrors, killing 2 more of them. He gets 3, 6, 7 of mine guys. So I win by 1 with the Magician. He takes another wound on that guy with the dice by him, going from 1 to 2 wounds on him. Then we go off to turn 3. And here we are, due to the Glottkin being killed off in turn 1, and everything else happening the way it is. This is going to be the last turn, just a heads up, because it's a pretty fast and deadly game. So for Glottkin turn 3, I charge the chariot into the wolves, do the impact hits, getting, I believe it was like 4 impact hits, causing all to wound. So of course I wiped out those dogs. Overrun, hopefully getting to Crypt Horrors, but end up right there. And then, so that's that. Warriors, chariot attacks. Nope, that's pretty much, that's for charge. And so therefore I have no magic, no shooting, and combat with the rest of the warriors and the Beastigores. Yeah, this is kind of fuzzy, I know, and this is kind of the outcome of the battle against the stalkers. He kills off. Let's see, where is it? Oh, I guess I don't have those notes out. I think I lost like another 5 guys. Well, fortunately, they were able to kill off 2, 4, 5 of the stalkers, leaving 1 left there. And that was just from the Beast Lord and the Wargore killing off like 3 of them, and then the unit killing off 2 more. And that's it for combat. We move on to Nagash's final turn. Here we are at Nagash turn 3. He charges the higher turn, he fails. Nagash charges, gets in. Vampire charges, gets in. And of course, that one stalker is still there. We kind of go in the magic phase. He gets 8 dice. I get 4. He rolls off for Soul Blight. For 13 with 2 dice, I roll 4, dispelling that. And then second one, Dance of Macabre. He gets that one off. And the 5 from and then the 1 spell from the Tomb Kings. Is it a signature spell? Nakara. No, it was number 5. Yeah, to look that up. It was number 5 from the Tomb Kings, Nakara, which pretty much lowers my strength and toughness. Of course, because I had no dispel dice to dispelling those last 2, and those 2 go off. Then we go off to shooting, and lucky. 2 archer units are in range, and they both open up on the chariot. And they each hit their attacks, and of course, believe the first one gets a wound through it, didn't really turn it, and the second one wipes out the chariot unit. So that one, chariot's gone. Those archers are in those chariots. Chariots do not like archers for some reason on this game. And then we go off to combat. And for combat, he issues a challenge with the vampire, and I accept with the beast lore there. Unfortunately, the vampire got to go first, wipes me out before my attacks can get in. So he's gone. And then the last stalker goes against the BSB, killing him. And I believe Nagash goes up against the unit and wipes them clean off the board. So by the end, Nagash's end of turn 3. And here's the overview of the battlefield after turn 3. And what do you see? I see Nagash, undead, 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 and another undead units left. And you see any chaos? Nope. Oops, sorry about that. So therefore, as you can tell, it is a victory for Nagash. And just kind of a quick review of the game, which could have been a game changer after reviewing it. This is the first time playing the Glottkin and using the book and trying to remember all of his stuff. We forgot to use the Reign of Chaos table for that first spell, which was the 12 dice, or actually it was 11 dice. So with that, it would have been a dynamic possession, which was to randomly select one enemy wizard, which would have been Nagash, who would have had to have taken a leadership test. Even if we did this, Nagash, as those who play them and read up on him, know he has a leadership 10. So on 2 dice, you gotta figure with a leadership 10, he's going to pass that. So you either need 11 or 15, which would have, I guess, could have been came into play, but could have been he could have passed it. So looking back, it was like, ugh, who cares? He has a high enough leadership. It's like, what the heck? What can that do? But if he would have failed it, he would have been gone and had been replaced by which was a Herald of Corn, Tanish, Nurgle, or Slanesh. So a Herald would have been put in his place. And then that would have been it. You wouldn't have been able to raise those 2 units. Because the Herald would have to generate his spells. If it was Herald Tanish here. Otherwise he would have been normal, a Herald, and those 2 units wouldn't have come into play. So stay tuned for probably another game. We will go do this again and try something different, tactics, units maybe. So kind of another review. We got the Nagash's Magic, raising up 1,155 points, and Nagash's Shooting, which killed Glottkin. So his magic and shooting was spot on in this game. And of course, I didn't put the note up here for my list and kind of deployment. Yeah, deployment. I had fewer units, so he was able to place his big Nagash closer to my guy, which was unfortunate. But trying to build a list from what I've seen here and trying to do it freehand, it's like using army builder. It's like for point wise, you got your Glottkin, okay. Now for point wise, to get the most max with your points left, and especially at 2,000 point level, and to get as many models and with good stuff, you'd have to go the way I did, because the toughest way is Warriors of Chaos, the highest points, which I found. And I have to review the books again, but I'm pretty sure it is that way. Warriors are pretty high priced. Then Demons of Chaos are second. And then Beastmen, which luckily are the cheapest, as I believe was 12 points base per model. And then with the lore, because their infantry is 2 points, so 14 points total. Warriors were probably about like close to 30. Demons were probably going to be low 20s. So Beastmen, I'm sure those who are playing them, you gotta, if you're looking for something to get into, this is the way to go. Get your Beastmen and get this end time book Glottkin and try to come up with some more. So I might try to do that and go more Beastmen with Glottkin because of the point values. So hopefully when they have a new book come out, it'll be even more helpful and more exciting to play Beastmen again. And I might just get some Beastmen myself for this guy anyways. And that's about the 3, of course, that's 3 armies in the order from what my builder and building skills went to. So, and here's the end. Here we are at the end. Glottkin versus Nagash, and the victor is Nagash, of course. So, hopefully you enjoyed my side and views, and go and see Nick's Big Bad Bat Reps video, and leave comments and subscribe to both of us if you haven't already. We both like subscriptions and people keeping updated on our channels for more bat reps to come. So stay tuned from next week, because for Materiums around the world in 12 games, I'll be bringing out my Bretonians. Of course, they're still on painted because I'm waiting for the army book. Come on, GW, give me the book. I want the book. Or like that one saying, show me the money. Show me the book, GW. Come on. So you stay tuned for that and for future bat reps. Thank you and keep on gaming.